This conference will now be recorded.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Is there
Yes,
anyone
sir.
who did? Okay, perfect. Is there anyone who did not listen to them? All the 3 videos? If not, you listen to them. Okay. So this is SAP client. In this client, in this client, we have a EG access screen and IMG screen. EG access screen and IMG screen. So here, this is the screen for the end users to execute day-to-day transactions. To execute day-to-day transactions. Okay, so what are the day-to-day transaction? What do they do? Executing a day-to-day transaction means what? It is either a data maintenance or a data retrieval. Yes or no? It's just a data maintenance or a data retrieval. What is this? Data maintenance in respect to tables, and the data retrieval, either they upload the data, maintain the data, okay, or they retrieve the data for analysis as the information reports. Information reports. Example, data maintenance means what? Hiring an employee in HR, okay, creating a positions, creating org units, etc. And for finance, creating a GL accounts and their amounts, and maintaining a day-to-day accounts, debit side and credit side. This is what they do, right? They maintain the data. Okay. So the retrieving the data means what? How many employees joined this year, last year? Get me the report of how many employees joined in the last year. Show me in an Excel sheet. So the system gives you the report, an information report. So it's either data maintenance or data retrieval is what the end user does. So the data that end user maintains is what? What is the data? Master data. Yesterday I told you. Master data
And transactional data.
or transaction data. Master data and the transaction data, both. Okay. So the master data and the transaction data of what? In HR, the master data and the transaction data of who?
Are stored in info types.
Master data and the transaction data of employees
Employees. Yeah. Sorry.
or applicants. In recruitment, what's the difference between employee and applicants?
Employees were who has been hired, and applicants were who were applied for the positions. Am I correct, sir?
Yes. Okay. Or departments data, positions data, org units data. This is what we maintain in HR. The master data and the transaction data. In finance, master data and the transaction data means what?
Maintaining GL accounts,
Yeah,
ledger accounts.
ledger accounts and cost center information. Okay, controlling data and vendors, etc. In sales or in CRM, in customer relationship management,
Client information.
no. Company's customers. Who are the company's customers? The persons who buy the products from this company. Redis Lab customers means what? Redis Lab consumers, right? Consumers means who? Who buy the products of Redis Lab? Okay, customer data. See, you open a bank account, you are a customer of a bank. Okay, you buy a TV, you are a customer. There is a customer service for you, right? They take your information, they store your information, feedback, everything, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
so customer service. So here the customer's data. In material management, whose data we handle, what data we handle?
Stocks which we have purchased and which we are selling.
Materials.
Quantity.
Okay, it's a materials, incoming materials or outgoing materials, anything. Outgoing in the sense the selling materials or the raw materials, both. So the data of material management. In sales, sale information. Okay, like this, every module has the front end data. Every module has the front end data that we maintain in EG access. Okay, SAP EG access. I mean, users maintain this data in SAP EG access, right? So this data is classified into two tabs: master data and the transaction data. So what's the difference between master data and the transaction data?
Master data is a
Go ahead.
master data is the one-time data like materials updating, and transactional data is the day-to-day activities which we are doing in the business.
So master data is a constant, not changed frequently. Give me the master data of employees. For employees,
phone number,
Employee ID,
ID,
Employee ID, employee name, dependent
personal
details.
information, employment information, or you can say employee position, employee job, employee department. This is something that we don't change frequently. Employee address, dependent details. Okay, so what's the difference? What is the transaction data?
Payments, sir.
Updated or changed on day-to-day basis. Example: attendances, absences, payments, and deductions.
Deductions.
Okay, payments and deductions. So that is the difference between a master data and the transaction data. If you look at from the accounting perspective, okay, so this is for the HR. Now in accounts, suppose you take a vendor. What is vendor master data? What's the difference between vendor and customer? What's the
Vendor is a
difference
person
between?
who supplies to us, and customer is a person whom to be supply.
Excellent. So vendor is a person whom this company, okay, this company buy the products and services from. Customer is a person. Customer is a person who purchase the products of Redis Lab. Suppose Redis Lab is a pharmaceutical company producing the drugs. To produce the drugs and sell it to the customer, they need first raw materials. These raw materials, they are purchasing raw materials and machines, they are purchasing from their vendors. Okay. Suppose if I'm providing a training services to a company, I become a vendor of that company. I'm providing services. If I'm providing a products and services to a company, I'm selling my services and products to a company, it is a vendor. So every employee is indirectly is a vendor. Every employee is a vendor to the company because employee is providing the services to the company, employee is getting the amount for it. Clear? So vendor master data means, so vendor address, okay, vendor GST details, vendor PAN details, vendor all these details, registration certificate details, okay, everything, and also vendor to transfer the amounts. This is vendor
Communication
master
detail.
data. Vendor transaction data is what?
The transactions which we made from him.
Yes. So the transaction data is the payments, like invoice data, to purchase something from the vendor. What they raise purchase order, PO.
POs.
PO or work order we call. Okay. Based on the work order, the customer or the vendor provide the services or deliver the goods and services to the company. Then vendor raise invoice and clearings from the finance department. So for the invoice, the company clear the invoice amounts. So similarly, CRM, customer master data. What is a customer master data? When you go to the shop for the first time, they collect your name, phone number, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, we don't have that level of patience to give all the details to the shopkeeper. They ask only the name or a number, mobile number. But if you look at that screen, it has every communication information fields, mail ID, phone numbers, address, and everything. Okay, so the customer address, customer contact information, customer personal information is a customer data. And customer transaction data is what? What is the customer transaction data? Anyone?
The goods customer purchase.
Purchases. What is his? Every day you go to the shop and you purchase something. Okay, then the shopkeeper asks you what is your phone number. When you give your phone number, they trace your customer ID, and the invoice is generated with your customer ID. Okay. Similarly, materials. So materials type, the units applicable, price, and who is the vendor or a customer for the materials. This is the material data. And the purchase of material day to day, or selling material is a transactional data. Like this, every module is a master data in the transaction data. The master data is a one-time creation data and changed only when certain event occurs. Otherwise, data will not be changed. See, employee master data, employee personal information is updated. Okay. When there is a change to the master data, can someone give me the master data change example for the employee?
Promotion. Promotion.
Excellent. Promotion, transfer, or employee address change, or employee employment data, position or department changes, marital status changes. It's a master data change. Okay. Transactional data means attendance and absences. So every module in the front end has a master data and the transaction data. So SAP has provided for every other module master tables and the transaction tables. Master tables and the transaction table. That's where we maintain, or the end user maintain the data. The master table, employee master table, or a customer master table. Okay, for material management master tables. Every module has their own master data tables and their transactional data tables. Okay, can we maintain a transaction data without master data? Can we maintain?
No, sir.
No,
All right.
no, sir.
So we have to have a master data maintained first. So take a customer case. Customer, the ID, which is automatically generated when you maintain a name, contact details, address, and communication information. When you maintain all this, okay, customer type, okay, when you maintain all these details, the master data, the system generates an ID. The system generates an ID. Okay, ID. That ID is called customer ID. For employee, it is what we call employee ID. Personal number or employee ID. For a vendor, vendor ID. Customer, customer ID. Material ID. Sale ID. Okay, applicant ID. So what is the significance of ID? ID is a unique representation of the master data. The ID is a unique or identification or representation of the master data. Why is it not changing? Yeah. So this ID is a unique representation. Why is this color not changing? One minute, guys, something happened. Just behaving weird.
Sir, in menu, color one has been opted for black, sir. That due to which I think
It should be used for cutting this. What is this nonsense?
Sir, changed color 2 also, sir. Let's see.
Mhm.
It is in black now, sir. Change it to other color.
All right. So the ID,
Sir, change color 1.
yeah,
Color 2 in white, color 1 in black.
what is happening? No, I clicked on something actually. I don't know what.
Sir, in no, sir.
Wait,
Actually, in okay.
ID is unique representation of, the ID is a unique representation of master data. That's why we have a employee ID. When you join in a company, you are provided with ID because they want to recognize your entire master data, or the system need to recognize entire master data. Okay, based on the ID. See, every time when you go to the customer, shop for purchasing something, every time they don't generate a new ID, right? Okay, first time only they create ID, and after that they trace the ID. After that they trace the ID. Okay, so the reason for creating this ID, one thing is unique identification. The second thing is database technique. Okay, let's say this ID concept is not there. When you go to the store, every time, okay, name is not unique. Okay, so every time you have to give your details, and they have to keep updating the data and then maintaining the transactional data. Every time you are saving the same data again and again. When you go to the store again and again, every time they are collecting your address, they are collecting your contact information every time. How much space does it occupy in the database, right? So if the employee data is stored in one place, or applicant data or a customer data is one place in one table, and that is identified with the ID, next time onwards, every transaction you can record with the ID. Clear? You do not have to take the data from the employee again or a customer again and update them. See, every transaction can be maintained, can be recorded with the ID. Let's say ID. So the sale item 1, okay, ID, the sale item 1. So what is that? Type, units, price. Okay, units, price. Similarly, sale item 2, or sale Yeah, sale item 2. What is this type? Units and price. So they can record the transactional data like this with the ID. They don't need to take your name, phone number, and again and again. They just take the phone number to trace the ID, and then they maintain a transactions with the ID. Take employee case. I have to maintain attendance information of an employee. I have to maintain attendance information of an employee. So that attendance, should I maintain with again employee address, employee phone number, employee contact details again and again? No, right? Okay. Employee attendance or absence. We record that attendance and absence with the employee ID. We record that attendance and absence with the employee ID. So that system recognize this attendance and absence data or this transaction data belongs to so and so entry in the master table. So ID is the link between the master data and the transaction data, guys. Okay, so the master data is identified by the ID. Transactional data, okay, is recorded, is maintained with the ID. Understood the difference between master data and the transaction data? Without having a master data, we cannot record the transactional data. Okay, we cannot record the transactional data. So master data is mandatory. Okay, so the master data ID is a unique. ID is a unique representation of the master data. Okay, unique representation of the master data. So the master data is stored in the system with the ID. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Transaction data is maintained. The master data, so the transaction data is maintained or updated with the ID. Okay. So the master data or the transaction data is maintained or updated with the ID. So that is reference. So every module has a master tables and the transaction tables, guys. But only in HR, only in SAP HR, we don't have a master tables and the transactional tables concept. HR is unique. HR module is unique from other modules. Okay. The nature of the HR data is completely different. The nature of the HR data is completely different. You cannot use the same master tables and the transaction tables which we are using for other modules. Okay, which we are using for other modules. So that's why this data, HR data, requires additional validations. This HR data requires additional validations. That's why SAP has given us, okay, a new tables called info types. It is also tables only, info types. So we don't have master table concept or a transactional table concept. Instead, we have a info type concept. Info types are the tables. Okay, info types are the tables. So SAP HR is the topic of info types. SAP HR is the topic of info types. OM info types, PA info types, recruitment info types, payroll info types, time management info types, okay, benefits info types. Every sub module of SAP HR has info types. The HR front end data, the HR front end data is stored. The HR front end data is stored in the info types. You understood? But every module like finance, CRM, MM, sales, plant maintenance, production planning, they have a concept of master tables and the transaction tables. That's where the data is stored. But in HR, okay, these tables are called info tabs. The reason is these tables require additional properties. Along with the master table and the transaction table properties, it requires additional properties. That's why SAP does not want to call it as a master table or a transaction table like other module. SAP named it as info tabs. Info tabs also tables with additional properties. HR data is always effective date based data. HR data is always a effective date based data. Okay, which you will not find it in other modules. So see, if you are hiring an employee, your hiring itself started with the effective date, right? The very first field in any HR technology is what? Your date of hiring. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
When you are
Yes,
running
yes, sir.
when you are running a promotion, okay, or when you are doing organization transfer, this transfer is effective from so and so date. This salary increment is effective from so and so date. This position change is effective from so and so date. So there is always be an effective date setting. Okay, there's always an effective date setting. Clear? Okay. Now, so that's the introduction of info tabs. That's the reason info tabs are introduced by SAP. Every one of us must remember the list of info tabs provided for each module, because that would be an interview question. What is info tab for maintaining employee address? What is info tab for maintaining employee basic pay? What is info tab for maintaining employee PAN number? What is info tab for maintaining employee bank details? What is info tab for maintaining employee family details and dependent details? You are an employee. You are joining in a company. The company gives you ID or not? The very first day. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That is employee ID in the system. Okay, and you are submitting your address details, your identification details, your previous employment details, education information. So are the HR going to maintain this data in the system or not?
Yes, sir.
So that's what is info tabs. If they're using SAP technology, it is info tab. If they're using a PeopleSoft, they call it as some other table, master table. Okay, if they are using a success factor, they call it as a succession data models. Clear? So different technology have a different names, but the data remains same. Okay, it's what we call the tables in the technology is different, but the data remains same. The way we maintain the data, the names we call with is different from technology to technology, but the data remains same, right? When you are learning SAP HCM module, every scenario relate to your employment. You are an employee of one company. Okay, you are given with a position, you are given with a job, you are given with a department, which department you belong to. Okay, you are maintained with a pay scale grade and level, you are maintained with a salary. Every scenario that we are going to cover in the entire HCM, okay, you relate it to yourself. If you are an employee of the company, or if you're not an employee, if it is first time you are going to work, then still you know basic knowledge of employment, right? Do I have to tell you what is the employment? Yes or no?
No, sir. No,
Everyone
sir.
has some knowledge on employment. So when we are working on SAP HCM, relate this to your employment, or if you're not an employee of any firm, treat yourself as an employee of any firm and learn these concepts. It's easy to understand. HR is a very generic module. You don't have to be, you don't need to be from HR background. You don't need to have a HR process knowledge. HR process is a very much generic. Anyone from any education background, any employment background can learn the HR module easily. The reason is when you are applying a post, okay, when you are applying for a job in a company, you go through the recruitment process. So you will have some knowledge on the recruitment. When you are selected and you are going through the hiring process, so you will have some knowledge on hiring process, what data you need to submit, why they are collecting the data, what is meaning of BGC, background verification checks, okay, and where you have onboarding processes. After hiring, immediately there is onboarding process, induction process. You will get the knowledge on that, and you are maintaining your day-to-day attendance and absences. That is called time management, and you are getting a salary on monthly basis, pay period basis. What components are there in the salary and how they are paying, on what basis they are paying. If you just keep focus on it, you are understanding the payroll. When a year end comes, you fill your appraisals, self appraisal. That is appraisal cycle, performance management. Okay, and you enroll in a trainings ongoing in the company, going on in the company. That is a training and development module. If there are 10,000 employees in the company, all 10,000 employees will have a knowledge on HR, but not on finance, but not on material management, but not on sales, complete sales process. The HR is one unique module which everyone can understand. So when you are learning a HR module related to yourself, by the end of the payroll, if I explain you the Indian payroll, you should be able to calculate your own tax, your own provident fund, your own payroll, you should be able to run. That is the objective of this training. Clear? What we maintain in IMG screen, what we maintain in IMG screen is what? It's a configuration data, or it is called solution design or a customization data. At a higher level word is solution design. Where is it stored? Tables. IMG tables. So this cannot be maintained by user, by functional consultant. By functional consultant. Okay. Is it clear? So these tables are configuration tables. These tables are called configuration tables. These are identified with, okay, table, unique table number T1, 2, 3, 4, or let's say these tables are V underscore T1, 2, 3, 4. This is how the namings will be. This data is transported. The master data and the transaction data is never transported. The master data and the transaction data is never transported. It is never transported from one client to another client. It is never transported from one client to another client. But configuration data is transported using
ER, transport request.
a concept of TR. So if I explain you, you take the screenshot, guys, or else let me send you the screenshot. All of you must go through the info tabs if you have not gone through the info tabs, and if you have not received, I'll share that again. Before I explain tomorrow's session, you must listen to those info tabs session. Okay, because I have given you the introduction of info tabs. You read the info tabs. You listen to the input types and make a points. If anything that you want me to explain, you ask me tomorrow, I'll explain again. Anyway, I'll explain the time constraint part tomorrow. Okay. So to keep it simple, what actually is the difference between a master data and the transaction data? Okay. The master data and the transaction data. So this is the client. This is easy access screen. This is IMG screen. I'm hiring an employee. What data do we maintain during a hiring? Anyone?
Hiring date,
Okay.
position,
Okay.
cost center, personal area.
Don't talk about in SAP terminology. If you have already learned, don't say.
Oh, sorry.
Employee
I
group.
want these answers from the freshers who do not know SAP. Anyone?
Employee group.
That's what I said. See, when I'm hiring an employee, I maintain personal information of employee, address information, and employee family details, education, ID proof, and employee communication information, skills, and previous employment information. Okay. So this is a one category of data. Okay, one category of data. And this is another category of data. What is this another category of data? Department and the job that employee is playing, and employees entity, in which entity he is part of, and which location, base location of employee, sublocation. Okay, he is a employment type, permanent or a contract employee. Employment type, frequency. Okay, frequency, and what else? Employee grade and employee level. Both are employees data. This is the employee data, this is the employee data. But what's the difference? What's the difference between both? Anyone? What's the difference between both?
Sir, this one is a employee independent data. The another one is it's a dependent data.
No.
This one is employee master data. This one is employee transaction data.
No. Both are master data only. But what's the difference? Anyone?
Personal information and employees information.
One is a personal information. Now tell me guys, does the employee personal information talk about anything about employment? Is it talking about employment? How employee is associated with the company? It's a more of an employee personal information, biographical information. Okay. When you look at this data, it doesn't tell you what type of association the employee has with the company. Yes or no?
Yes. Sir,
When you look at this data, tell me what type of employee he is. When you look at this data, the one highlighted in the red color, can you tell me what type of employee he is?
no.
Can you tell his location? Can you tell his grade and level? Can you tell on what date he joined? No, right? So this data is called employment data. The other one is personal information, and both are identified with the employee ID. Both are master data. Employee demographic data, employment information with the company, both are identified with the employee ID, which is called master data, which is called personal number in SAP. Personal means employment. Now, how this employment data is associated with the IMG? It is related with the IMG screen. Observe this. When you go to the legal entity, when you go to the base location field, when you go to the sublocation field, okay, position field, or a job or a department, is it a free text field or a drop down fields? Free text field means you type anything, it takes it. Drop down means you select from the list that appear in the drop down. Right? All these fields are what? Free text fields or drop down fields? Anyone?
Drop down field.
Drop down. See, when you go to the banking and when you are creating a payee information, okay, 1 minute, guys. Okay, so when you are creating a payee information in a banking portal, there is a nickname field, there is a name in account field, there is IFSC code field. Nickname field, it's not a drop down field, yes or no? You type anything, it takes it. Okay, you type anything, it takes it. Even if you update bank account name, not number, account name, it takes it. But IFSC code, does it take it?
No, it's drop down.
Drop down. So why drop down is required? Because assume this is the IFSC code. If you maintain IFSC code in a bank server, in a backend server, there is a table where the list of IFSC codes are valid IFSC codes maintained. So if you maintain an entry here, when you click on save, the system goes back to the backend table and check, is it a valid entry or not? If it is a valid entry, the payee is created. If it is not a valid entry, it gives you a message that IFSC code is not identified. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, when I maintain a position, can I type the position code directly? Anything on my own? Or do I have to select position which is there in the list?
We have to select.
So that's what is configuration. For all of them, for all these fields, there is a backend table, the list of positions of the company. The list of positions in the company. Okay, there is a table, and there is a table for the departments, there is a table for the jobs, and there is a table for legal entity, there is a base location table, there are sublocation tables, there are employment tables, frequency tables, there is a grade table, there is a level table. That's what we do in IMG. Okay, the valid departments of an enterprise customer, the valid jobs in the customer, the valid entities of a customer, the base locations of the customer, client, sublocations of the client, employments of the client, frequency of the client, grade of the client, levels of the client, It's only when you maintain IMG screen. It is an enterprise data. It is a enterprise data or a company's data. That's what is configuration. Front end is a employee data or applicant data or a customer data or a vendor data or a master data. Or a sales data. Back end, enterprise data. What you maintain in IMG is back end, means company's data, company's positions, company's department, company's jobs, company's entities, company's base locations, company's sublocations, company's employment types, company's frequencies. It's only when you maintain this company's data, customers' data in IMG, then only you can hire an employee. Then only you can hire an employee. Without that, can you hire an employee?
No, sir.
Can you maintain employment data without that?
No, sir.
No, right? So what we maintain in IMG is basically, technically, it is the drop-down fields of the front-end info tabs. And for these values, there are calculation rules. Configured here. For example, not only the table entries. For example, if employee grade 1 and level 2 is basic salary, $10,000, HRA is 10% of basic. The rules and the calculations are defined in the back end. That's what is also part of solution. L2, L3, the basic is 12,000. HRA is 20% of basic. Like this, every grade and level, every location, every employee group, every frequency has their own rules, right? So it's a updation of the tables and defining rules is what configuration is. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's it for today. So we will start with the configuration right from tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow I'll explain what is PA, what is the personal administration module, and we start working on PA sessions. I have not shared videos to you. I'll share the PA videos in advance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
Have
sir.
a nice day.
Thank you, sir.